it's Caitlin here. I'm going to take you through an all-level class today, so there'll be some challenging poses, and if you ever feel like you need to modify, just listen to your own body because you are your best teacher. So start in a comfortable seated position. Bring the palms to the knees. Start to close the eyes, bringing the gaze inward. Lengthen through the spine and the crown of the head, and just once roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Starting to find a place of stillness, just breathing in and out through the nose, taking the deepest breaths you've taken all day. Starting to center, letting go of any thoughts that you might have, and knowing that the breath is the most important thing to keep consistent throughout the class. So maintaining this even flow of breath. Taking one more deep breath here. Slowly start to drop your chin toward your chest and roll left ear toward left shoulder, rolling the chin along the collarbone to get there, opening up the side of the neck. Coming back through center, roll right ear to right shoulder. And coming back to center. Bring the palms together at heart center in Anjali Mudra. Bowing the chin toward the chest, and set your intention for today's practice. So taking the positive energy that you cultivate on your mat right here and right now towards something that you'd like to see grow. So planting a seed of intention. Gently blink open the eyes, taking in the gaze of the fingertips, taking in the room, lifting your chin up. And inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Walking your hands out in front of you. Start to walk the hands over toward the left side, planting that left hand down. Reach the right arm overhead, opening the chest. Exhale, hand comes back down to the mat, walking the hands back through center and over toward the right side, planting that right hand down. Reach that left arm overhead. Bring the left hand back down. Hands come back to center. Walk the hands back in toward the body. Walk the hands behind you, fingertips point away from you, and slowly lift the hips up. And lower the hips back down. Bring the hands back toward the front. Plant your palms, and we're going to roll over the knees. So rolling over the knees to come into a tabletop position. So planting down through the palms and the finger pads. Making sure your hips are over your knees, shoulders over the wrists, tuck the back toes. Coming through a few rounds of cat-cow, so inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, press the chest forward. And exhale, untuck the toes, round the spine, tuck the chin toward the chest. Inhale, tucking the toes, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze, pressing the chest forward. Exhale, untuck the toes, round the spine, chin tucks toward the chest. Taking a few more rounds of cat-cow, syncing the breath with the movement. Going as slowly as you'd like. Coming back to a neutral tabletop position. Slowly begin to reach that right arm overhead on your next inhalation. And exhale, threading it underneath the body, coming into the shoulder and the side of the head. And start to walk that left hand back up toward the top of the mat. Allowing the shoulder to release here. Slowly walking that hand back in towards center, press yourself back up to a neutral tabletop position. Inhale, sweep that left arm toward the sky, opening up. And exhale, threading the needle, threading it underneath the body, shoulder and the side of the head touches the mat, walking that right hand toward the top of the mat, releasing the shoulder. Walking the hand back in toward the body, press yourself back up to tabletop position. Untuck the toes, bring the big toes to touch, and drop the hips back toward the heels. Extend your arms in front of you and bring your forehead to the mat for child's pose. You can separate your knees as much or as little as you'd like. but start to find a place of stillness here. And know that at any point throughout your practice, you can come back into this posture to relax or to recenter yourself. So from child's pose, just start to gaze forward and bring your hips back up to tuck the back toes under. We're coming up into our first downward facing dog. So pressing into the palms and the finger pads, you're going to lift your sit bones up and back. And make sure your feet are about hip distance apart. Start to plant into the palms and the finger pads, pressing the shoulders away from the ears. And start to bend one knee at a time, opening the back of the hamstrings. Breathing deeply into your first downward facing dog. Keeping the core engaged. And then start to gaze forward toward the top of the mat and start to walk your feet with tiny little baby steps all the way up to a forward fold. For this first one, keeping your knees slightly bent, draping your upper body over your legs. And slowly begin to roll up one vertebrae at a time to the top of your mat. Hands down by your side. Bring your feet together to touch. Moving through a few sun breaths. So inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Palms together to touch. Gaze is up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, swan dive forward. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale to halfway lift. Lengthening through the spine and the crown of the head. Fingertips aligned with the toes or on the shins. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, root to rise, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweeping the arms back overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, dive it out forward all the way, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat spine, root to rise, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. And down by your side. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, arms reach overhead, palms together to touch. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthening through the spine. And exhale, plant the palms for this first one. Just step back to a plank position, like the top of a push-up. And shift forward on your toes to lower down through Chaturanga all the way to the mat, keeping the body straight. Untucking the toes and peel the upper body off of the mat. Baby Cobra, slight back bend. Slowly pressing back, downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here. Maybe moving the hips from side to side. Maybe bending the knees still. Just listening to what you need. Slowly shift your gaze forward. Start to walk the feet toward the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat spine, reach the arms back overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center. And down by your side. Once more, just like that. So sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, dive it forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to the mat. Either take it just as we did or hop back through Chaturanga, hopping to bent elbows. Inhale, coming to the tops of the feet. Upward facing dog, back bending. Exhale, press it back, downward facing dog. Taking a few deep breaths here. Planting into the palms and the finger pads, keeping the core engaged, navel toward the spine. And shift your gaze forward. Either step or hop up to the top of the mat. If you're hopping, bend at the knees, shift your gaze forward and slowly jumping up between the hands. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, flat spine, root to rise, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center and down by your side. Adding on, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, dive it forward. Inhale to halfway. Exhale, palms to the mat. Take a vinyasa or go straight to downward facing dog. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep that right leg toward the sky. Either flex the foot or floint the foot like a Barbie doll foot. Pressing through the ball mound of the feet. Keep the weight even in both of the hands. keeping the hips squared toward the mat, and step that right foot between the hands for a runner's lunge. So keeping the right knee directly over the ankle, engaging that back leg. And start to press down through the feet to rise up, high crescent lunge. Shoulders away from the ears, rib cage in, hips and shoulders squared toward the front. Slowly breathing. And pivoting that back heel down so the foot is parallel with the back of the mat, aligning the heel of the front foot with the mid-arch of the back foot. Arms come in line with your collarbones, gazing over your right fingertips. Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Keeping a stillness in the face and the shoulders away from the ears. And slowly moving into extended side angle. So guiding that right forearm to the thigh, reach that left arm overhead, shifting your gaze toward the left palm. Taking a few breaths here. If you'd like to deepen this pose, you can drop that right hand down toward the mat. If you'd like to go further, you can take a bind by wrapping that left arm behind you, reaching underneath your leg and grabbing a hold of your hands here. Or you can just stay with the forearm on the thigh, but listen to what your body needs. And just keep the breath steady. If you're in the bind, slowly begin to release that hand back down. Reach the arm back overhead and we'll all press back up, Warrior 2. Straighten through that front leg. Drop the left arm down, right arm toward the sky as you flip the palms, gazing up, upward triangle. And slowly coming back through Warrior 2. Start to walk that left foot up. We're going to move into half moon. So guiding the right hand down toward the mat. Directly under your shoulder, you'll pick that back foot up as you open the hips so that the hips stack on top of one another. You can keep your hand on your hip, or you can reach that arm toward the sky. If you'd like to take this further, you can bend that back leg, grab a hold of the ankle, and press the foot into the hand for Chapasana. If you have the bind, releasing, opening up back to half moon. Slowly bring the left arm to meet the right on the ground, square the hips toward the mat, and step that left foot to meet the right at the top of the mat, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, either vinyasa or meet us in downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep that left leg toward the sky, pointing or flinting the foot, hips squared toward the earth, pressing evenly into both hands. And step that left foot between the hands, runner's lunge. So repeating on side 2, sweeping the arms overhead, high crescent lunge. Hips and shoulders squared, rib cage in, shoulders down. And opening up into Warrior 2. So dropping that back heel down, gazing over the left fingertips. Planting down through both feet evenly, checking your alignment, making sure the heel is aligned with the mid-arch of the back foot. And moving into extended side angle, bringing that left forearm to the thigh, extending that right arm overhead. Again, you can drop that hand down toward the mat or take the bind by reaching behind with the right hand, grabbing a hold of the left. And release the bind. Drop that left arm toward the mat, right arm overhead, and everyone meet back, Warrior 2. From here, straighten that front leg, drop the right arm down, left arm toward the sky, upward triangle. Coming back through Warrior 2, bending back through that front leg, walk the back leg up, half moon opposite side. So dropping that left arm down, as you start to pick that back leg up, stacking the hips on top of one another, you can bring the hand to the hip or reach it toward the sky. Or if you bent the knee on the other side, try to do it on this side, grabbing a hold of the foot, opening, pressing the foot into the hand, and then releasing that grasp. Bringing the right hand down to meet the left, square the hips toward the mat, step the right foot to meet the left, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, slight bend in the knees, root to rise. Press down, lift up, arms reach overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center. and down by your side. So from here, we're gonna come to balance in tree pose. So start to plant down through your right foot, picking the left toes off the mat. Holding here for a moment, try to engage that standing leg, find a point of balance, and then guiding the sole of that left foot either to the thigh, the calf, or kickstand it, but just make sure it's not on the knee. So keeping it in whatever position suits you for today, bringing your hands to heart center, and then find a point in the room to focus on, to focus your drishti on, that gaze, to find a point of balance. So engage your core here, engage in the abdomen. Hands at heart center, rooting down through that standing leg. If you'd like, you can reach the arms overhead like the branches on a tree, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. And then bringing the hands back down toward heart center. Release the foot, but keep the thigh parallel with the mat. So we're gonna move into warrior three. So slowly begin to hinge forward, kicking that back leg out behind you. So I'll do it to the side so you can see where my leg is. So you're straightening through that leg, hinging forward. You can reach your arms out like airplane arms if you'd like. And then slowly begin to bend that front leg, reach that back foot back, and drop down to a runner's lunge. So holding here for a moment, just catch your breath if you start to lose it. And then moving into warrior one. So pivoting that back heel down so that the right toes point toward the top right corner of the mat. Reach the arms overhead. Virabhadrasana 1. Keeping the core engaged, rib cage in, shoulders down, hips and shoulders square toward the front, and both feet are planted into the mat. And slowly bring that right hand to the hip and reach that left arm over, side stretch. Coming back to center, reach both arms overhead and both hands come down toward the mat. Pivot on that back ball mound of the foot so that you're back in a runner's lunge and step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat spine, reach the arms back overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center and down by your side. Side two. So planting down through that left foot to pick the right toes up. Finding that point of balance. Grounding down through that standing leg, engaging the core, and then guiding the sole of that foot to the same place that you had it on the other side so that you keep a balance in the body. Hands come to heart center. Deeply breathing, catching your breath. Finding that point in the room that you can focus on to help you balance. Grounding down to that standing leg, rooting down through it just like a tree. And again, you can grow your tree, reaching the arms up overhead, shoulders away from the ears. And guiding the hands back down toward heart center. Release that foot and keep it parallel with the mat. So shifting forward to warrior three again, kicking that back leg back as you hinge your upper body forward. Coming to this point of balance. Again, you can reach your arms out like airplane arms. I'll turn on my mat. And then slowly bending through that standing leg to reach that back foot out and plant it on the mat. Runner's lunge. So holding here for a moment. We're going to move into warrior one. So plant that back heel down so that the toes are pointed toward the top left corner of the mat. Reach the arms up overhead. Keep the rib cage in, shoulders down. Back leg is straight, planting into the mat. Breathing deeply. Dropping the left hand to reach the hip. Reach that right arm over, side stretch. Maintaining the balance in the legs. Coming back up to center. Reach both arms back overhead. Lower the hands down toward the mat. Pivot on the back, ball mound of the foot, and step back up to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat spine, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, and down by your side. From here, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat and step back to a downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep that right leg toward the sky, three-legged dog. Point the toes, stack the hips, bend the knee, open up toward the right side. From here, start to bring that right shin toward the top of the mat, dropping it down, walking that back leg back and down. So you'll come into a pigeon pose. So flexing through the foot if the shin is parallel with the top of the mat. If it's bent, you can point through the foot. Just allow your hips to open for a moment, taking a deep breath, and then starting to guide your hands out in front of you, trying to bring your rib cage over your shin. And you can drop your forehead to the mat if you'd like. If this is a little too difficult, you can stack your fists and bring your forehead to your fists. But taking a few moments to just breathe, allowing the hips to open in pigeon pose. We hold a lot of our tension and our stress throughout the day in our hips from sitting in chairs and cars. So just allow yourself to gently relax here. Maybe each breath takes you a little bit deeper. And start to walk the hands back in toward the shin. Invite a gentle back bend here, pressing down through the finger pads, pressing your heart upward. And start to plant the palms into the mat, tuck the back toes, and press back to downward facing dog. Bend at the knee and make big circles with that right leg. And come back to downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep the left leg toward the sky, three-legged dog. Point the toes, stack the hips, bend the knee, open up toward the left side. And then start to guide that shin toward the top of the mat, walking that back leg back and down. And again, flexing the foot if the shin is parallel with the top of the mat. Allowing your hips to just gently open, and then starting to guide and walk your hands forward. Bringing the ribs over the shin. Bringing your forehead to make contact with either the mat or your stacked fists. Start to surrender down into the mat. Allowing your body to just relax into this pose, allowing each breath to deepen your posture. And start to walk the hands back in toward the shin. Planting the fingertips into the mat, take a slight back bend, open your heart. And then plant the palms into the mat, tuck the back toes, and press back and up into downward facing dog and make big circles with that left knee bent, stirring the hip. And then come back to downward facing dog. From here, either meet us straight in a child's pose or take one last vinyasa by shifting forward to plank. Lowering down through chaturanga. Moving through upward facing dog. Pressing back, downward facing dog. And we'll all meet in a child's pose. Taking a few breaths here. Slowly start to press yourself up and come to a seated position with your legs straight out in front of you on your mat for Paschimottanasana, a forward fold. So flexing through the feet, lengthening through the spine. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. And exhale, start to hinge forward, grabbing a hold of your feet or bringing your hands to your shins. But keep the spine lengthened instead of rounding down. Lengthen through the spine. So only fold as far as you can with a straight spine, allowing each inhalation to create space and each exhalation to deepen your pose. And slowly coming back up out of that pose, guiding the soles of your feet together to touch, knees splay out toward the side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, straight spine, folding forward. grabbing a hold of your ankles. You can use your elbows to press your knees closer toward the earth, but keep the spine straight as you fold. And slowly press back up to seated. Guide the knees together to touch. And we're going to come into a boat pose. So I'll turn so you can see me a little better from the side. Start to pick one foot up and the other foot up as you're leaning on your sit bones. So keeping length in the spine. So if you see that you're gonna fall over, keep the knees bent. If you'd like, you can straighten the legs, but keep the length throughout the spine. So keep your hands either on the back of your quads or out to the side. Engaging the core muscles, keeping the shoulders back. Hold here. And we'll slowly start to lower down, straightening the legs, hovering for a moment, and lower down to the mat. Bringing your feet closer toward your body. Bring the knees in toward the chest. Give yourself a nice big hug, and gently rock from side to side. Lower the arms out to a T alongside you, and gently drop the knees over toward the right side as you shift your gaze over your left shoulder for a reclined twist. Maybe closing your eyes here. And bringing your knees back through center. Drop them over toward the left, gazing over the right shoulder. Bring the knees back to center. Give yourself a nice big hug, rocking side to side. And bring the soles of your feet together to touch. Drop the feet down toward the mat, knees splitting out toward the side. You can bring your hands to your hips, to cactus pose. You can extend your arms overhead for Supta Baddha Konasana, but just find whatever position makes you feel the most comfortable, allowing gravity to assist this hip opener. Taking a few breaths. And then slowly taking your time to make your way into Shavasana. Bringing your arms slightly away from your sides, your legs about mat distance apart, maybe fidgeting around, finding a place of comfort, and just start to let go. Start to release the tension in the muscles, allowing the body to relax, allowing the thoughts to let go. And stay here as long as you'd like in this peaceful place.